Blog Talk Radio.
Villain, I have taken over yet again. I threw TP Tymeless down in the rabbit hole, yet to never return to Sports City until he's back on vacation. The Villain filling in on the Cookout, the Callers Cookout on Sports City. The calling number 929-477-2759. I'm in the building. It is your host with the most, the Villain himself, Barry. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I got my main man, Sirius, on my side. Sirius, how you doing, brother?
You know, man, I'm good, man. I'm good sitting here channel surfing, watching these plethora of basketball games, which I'm sure we'll get into as we proceed this evening. What's up, man?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. NBA season has dawned upon us. We're having fun here. The Knicks doing what they do best, nicking, winning at halftime, and blowing it in the second quarter and doing their thing. So never a dull moment in New York City. And I got Royce on the line. Royce calling in. First time I've seen him on the Cookout. Royce, what's going on, brother?
What's good, fellas?
I would say I would say we're good, but you know I am a Knicks fan.
Everybody get at me at once.
Say it again.
I said I'm gonna be here for a minute. Y'all don't gotta jump on me at once.
Oh wow! I'm not gonna jump on you. I'm a friendly type of hero. I'm the good guy. I mean, TP Tymeless. He's the real bad guy. He's the real villain. I'm the hero. I'm the one that saves the world. I'm here to save you from yourselves. But no, it's good to see you, Royce. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's good to hear your voice. It's serious. It's always good to hear your voice. I guess I got to do this. I guess TP Tymeless is on the line. I guess I'll bring him in.
Man,
TP Tymeless.
Tell bubble bath, bottle sipping dude to sit his happy tail down somewhere. We do not like him right now. We do not welcome his kind.
We don't now. That's English. Wait, hold on. That's English. You said we do not. He said we do not. That's English, man.
I know you ain't talking, man. I know you was not talking.
Listen, I am talking. I could come up with your grammar left and right, but I done took off his blazer, loosened up the tie, stepped aside the kitchen. Timeless is alive, man. Feeling some type of way. I got these two brothers coming at me, coming at my head. I got an oldie but goodie back in the building, man, and it's popping off. And I got somebody mad because they had a Thunder guy or two Thunder guys. One departs, one wants to leave. He calling him a fat boy now. This is all type of crazy stuff, but I love it. This is a Cookout. It's about to pop off. The grill is lit.
I was just waiting to see if TP. I was just waiting to see if TP was gonna, give me my props. I guess not. It's all about TP. It's all about TP. I figured you're in like Sirius said in the hotel room with the bubble bath, watching TV, yelling at LV. It's like, boring. What's boring? Enjoying your vacation. But
no. I shook up the world yesterday with that bubble bath. I had to do the Snoop Dogg. The Snoop Dogg flick break yesterday. Don't be telling people my business, man. Don't tell people my business, man. That's a whole nother story, man. So I don't know where we want to start, man. There's a lot of storylines to get into, especially.
I know. There's a lot going on.
Hold on. Let me talk.
Wait, no. The Villain is hosting. You're not hosting. The Villain's hosting. Play your position. The Villain's got the dishes. I told you I heated up the grill. All right. You gotta listen. This is how you cook. You heat the grill up before you get started. Okay. You gotta have it warm before you put the meat on. I'm about to put the meat on. Okay. All right. Listen. I agree with you. There's a lot go. I wanted to start with the NFL to get it out of the way, but let's be real. You know where we want to start. This never-ending saga that is James Harden. I mean, the game. We were talking about it. All of us were talking about it all day, and it turns out the Rockets' opening game was postponed because James Harden gave half the team the clap, and basically everybody needs to be in quarantine because of him, because he wants to show his ass. He's like, I guess he must have saw an old video of a T.O. in the garage doing sit-ups and doing calisthenics, and said, you know what, hold my beer. Let me show you how you get treated. Like, this guy, listen, there's a lot of, when you're in the heat of a moment in practice with guys that you've been going to be around pretty much all year, you're going to have confrontations. But, you know, and you're going to have arguments. Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr infamously. You know, there's been all kinds of fights. Kobe Bryant was messing with Sasha. You know, like, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. But from what I've heard, Harden's not the kind of guy that's confrontational. He's a laid-back, easygoing kind of guy. But I guess the extra 15, 30 pounds of COVID weight that he's put on has made him an angry, you know, elf. I don't know what you call it. Like, now he's fighting, throwing balls at people, getting into fights, taking off when he wants to, ignoring the protocols, going on hiatus, going to parties with rappers and whoever. I mean, it's not like he's like Haskins going to a strip club or having strippers come to him after a game. But, I mean, TP, what is going on in Houston? Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, they have a problem, but this is the thing I'm looking at right now. I think the best bet is, and even though my team is a rival, I'm going to say it the right way, they got to get rid of him, because all of this stuff that's going to go on is going to, you know, filter throughout the team, and everybody's going to either feel a certain way about it or try to keep him there. I would like him to stay there, like, for competitive reasons, but, like, with all of this headache going on at the beginning of the season, new coach, new everything, they have to get rid of him to kind of start fresh. But like I keep preaching, I don't want to send him anywhere where he's going to end up being successful or helping the team. I want to put him on the Alaskan Eskimos. Like, I'm sending him somewhere where he's not dangerous. I don't want to help any other team out better than what we're doing. But I get it. I understand it was
Eskimos.
Something terrible, but, you know, it was something, you know, I forget what analyst was saying it, but it's like, you know, he knows that he's down there in Houston with one gun going up against a war of teams out there on the Western Conference, let alone trying to get all the way to the East. And now looking at the teams in the East where Brooklyn looks stout out of their first game, and you also have a good game right now with Philadelphia and the Wizards, and the Wizards are beating the Sixers right now. So did Russ really make a good move going with Bradley Beal, if that's going to be something to worry about going down the road? Miami's still a good contender. You still got the Bucks, but I think the Bucks are a good regular season team and trying to approach the postseason. But right now, with Harden having this headache and, you know, having not only him but John Wall caught up in the situation of you know, having a test being unconfirmed or confirmed, and also Boogie Cousins and KJ Martin, it's incredible that this is the way that it's going down for Houston. And I'm pissed because I can't get to see my boys off the jump. I really felt good of just seeing the game with the Thunder, and now I felt with at least the two of John Wall and Boogie not being available, I was like, at least we got a shot. Now it's no game. It's like, well, damn, like, what happened? So I think Houston has to try to find a way to start fresh before they can get into the month of, I want to say February, because I don't think they'll get it done before, you know, or in the midst of January. So at least before the month of February, before they can make a move.
So about 2 minutes, about a minute and 40 seconds before you had a shameless plug for the Thunder. I was waiting to see how long that was going to take, but 2 minutes.
We played them tonight. Listen, hold on. We played them tonight.
I asked you about Harden. I didn't ask you about the Thunder. Nobody cares about the Thunder. More like oh, come on, like a shock in the extension quarters. I don't even know what you call it. Thunder. No, I'm just messing with you. No, TP, I agree with you, man. It's he's got to go. He's trying to get traded. Everything he's doing is to get traded. At this point, I mean, you got to. There's no offers. Nobody wants to give you anything for him, as we said last week. But he's got to go. He's going to be a disruption. He's going to be a nuisance until you get rid of him. Royce, I mean, the Harden saga continues every day you don't think he can outdo himself, and he proves that he can the very next day. What do you think is going to happen with Harden and the Rockets?
Yeah, well, when it comes to Harden and the Rockets, one thing is clear. There is no doubt about the talent of James Harden. His game has not faltered. He's not slipped one iota, not one bit. So I don't buy into the joking and the clowning. That's cool. Let's joke, let's clown if that's what you do. But me personally, man, James Harden's still an outstanding talent, still an MVP candidate year in and year out. And until that changes, all the rest of it is just, it is what it is. He's trying to want to be in a better situation to attempt to win at a higher level. As an organization, the Houston Rockets called the shots and made the decisions. The tremendous amount of publicity and narrative rewrite that everyone is providing as if he's really calling all the shots, like he owns the organization. He traded for everybody. He shipped everybody out. I mean, the reality is he's the last man standing from a team that's pretty much been completely dismantled. And so he's trying to find the right location. And at the same time, if you think bigger picture, as I always say when it comes to the NBA, sometimes it's just the WWE, man. And for a long time, everybody at one point was like, yo, how can you actually train James Harden? It's not good for the organization. It's not good for the team. Now, listen to what you just said. He's got to go. They tricked you into saying he's got to go. So when he gets moved, it's not an issue, right? Because it's kind of like not being able to see the forest for the trees. It's the old okie doke shell game. So, I can't wait for him to get moved. I think it'd be best for the Houston Rockets. And I'm actually hoping, contrary to probably what everybody wants to see, I really like the idea of James Harden to the Denver Nuggets for a very young player who's expected to be a superstar in the NBA, and one Michael Porter Jr., who I personally believe needs his own team to really reach his full potential. Mike Malone, since Michael Porter Jr. Became active, really hasn't committed to playing him a ton of minutes, so he wants him to come off the bench, wants him to fit in behind Jokic and Murray, and talent-wise, anybody who knows basketball knows that Michael Porter Jr. is already better than both those guys when it comes to the type of player you need to actually lead a team and win a championship. So is he know the NBA like Joker in terms of experience? Not just yet, but when it gets down to the talent, you'll see. It's a matter of time. But that's my thoughts on Harden, man. I can't wait for him to get traded.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're all waiting for. It's just a matter of who's going to take him and what do you have to give up for him. I'm going to take it to serious, but I want to, basically have a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by Sirius Simmons on this show, on the Cookout, are not those they're of Sirius and not necessarily reflect the official views and the official standpoint of Sports City Chef and the Cookout.
You got to say that for him. You got to say that for him, and you try to back him. That's terrible. I just don't.
No, I'm just saying. Because I know Sirius is gonna go hard, and he's gonna say something that's gonna people gonna think Sports City feels that I gotta protect our investment. Sirius, I know you want to go hard on Harden. Go hard. Go ahead. Do your thing. Go ahead.
Well, gentlemen, I as a lone Rocket fan here, I've had enough of dealing with this headache. Today he was fined $50,000 for his heinous and selfish actions at the strip club, at the bar, whatever, wherever he was at, he was fined. Then after the fine, this coward decided to go on Instagram and start playing the victim like they just trying to, drag my name. No, you old cornball ass dude, you were at the party. We got video of you, sitting there playing around with suitcases and this, that, and the third. Ain't nobody trying to drag you, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So don't hit me with that woe is me, you know what I'm saying? I'm a victim type of mentality. See, this is the problem I have with James Harden. I'm not negating his basketball skill set. I never have. But the audacity of this man or this boy, let me call him what it is, this boy to come in here and start playing victim is ridiculous. If you just came out and was like, you know what, I want to be traded, you know what I'm saying, and did what you had to do, then you would have been gone by now. You would know how to wreck your trade value. But the more times you show up to practices and throw basketballs at rookies' foreheads and be a total malcontent, it makes it harder for you to actually get what the fuck you actually want. And until you grow up and actually do what you're supposed to do, you're not going anywhere because nobody's going to want you. Nobody's going to want you, bro. Miami backed out of all types of negotiations because they don't want to deal with you. Pat Riley is a smart dude. Eric Spoelstra is a smart dude. They don't want to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And so I am sick of this. I said this last week. I'm going to say it again this week. I don't want this dude to suit up again in my uniform. I don't want it at all. You know what I'm saying? Now we got this whole, we couldn't even play the game today because we didn't have to require players due to COVID, this, that, and the third. Of course, I'm going to make a joke and say, this is Harden's fault because he went out and did his thing and had, the clap in his face and brought it to the squad and this, that, and the third. It is what it is. Point remains, it's a bad look for my squad right now to have James Harden be a member of the squad. How in the world are you supposed to do introduction videos and everything that we're supposed to do as far as social presence and community outreach and handing out, presents to kids and this, that, and the third, and you're being this much of an asshole to your teammates and to the fan base, the motherfuckers that backed you and supported you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much you can put the ball in the bucket at this point. It's irrelevant to me, bro. Take your ball, sit your bitch ass home, and tell somebody comes for you. We're not coming for you. Sit your ass home until we send for you.
I told you,
man, bro.
Sirius was gonna go hard. Royce, what do you got?
Wow. Like, listen. Let me be honest with you guys, and y'all might not want me to talk no more after this. The world is a lot smaller than what it used to be, and you might not think the actual player James Harden can hear you or will hear you, but you have to consider some of the things that you're saying, and it's as if he was actually on the line, because again, the world has changed. It's very small. There's this new app called Clubhouse, and I've been in rooms with former NBA players, management, and things of that nature on a call just like this. And people are talking amongst one another. So all I would just say is do your sport thing the way you choose to do it, but be careful, because when you go outside of basketball and you get into manhood conversations, these real men, and they ain't going to know if you're doing it for entertainment's sake, and they might want to come see you. That's all I'm saying.
I will say this. I will say this to that statement.
Be wise. Be wise, and you call a grown ass man a bitch, bro. That's all I can say. Be wise.
I would say this to that statement. If he wants me, he can come see me. But his actions and how he is behaving warrants that conversation. No man on this planet scares me. Not a one. Not a one. You can't sit there and tell me, man to man, you know what I'm saying, that the way you're behaving is not bitch-like. You can't sit there and tell me that man to man. I don't care if he's listening. I hope he is listening. I hope he hits me up on Instagram later and we have a conversation. I don't care. You wrecked my franchise. You're sitting there making it very difficult for a team to move you. Let me get this straight. You are a MVP. You are the number one scorer in all of basketball, okay? It is very well known amongst the league owners and GMs that you won out, and the phone line has gone silent. it's not like these NBA players and these NBA teams and these NBA franchises don't have assets that we could want. It's not like these NBA franchises and these NBA GMs don't have, money and stuff like that we can move around to make something happen. The line has gone silent. And as we sit here on this network and across the other networks and try to look in our crystal ball and try to figure out, hey, is he going here? When is James Harden moving? Yet it's tip-off week here in the NBA, and he's still on my team. Because nobody's calling to move nothing. Nobody's doing nothing. Why? He's wrecked our ability to move him. And until he mans up, I don't care if he's listening, but until he mans up and does what he's supposed to do, he's going to still be on my roster. Send his ass home, Tyrone Owens style, and don't come until we call for you.
That's the interesting thing I'm thinking about. Wait, that's the interesting thing I'm thinking about is looking at the fact that it's all these teams around the NBA and nobody's like really trying to bother with the contract, because that's a heavy contract to have to deal with, at one point. But then you got to also think of the pieces that the Houston Rockets are going to warrant at that point in time too. So it's like, what team has a good package to make it feasible for them to bring Harden in and make a difference to make a push toward the playoffs, or be able to handle the brunt of that contract? There's a lot of specifications, but I'm wondering why all the teams are at a standstill. That is the interesting thing. But knowing that Houston's going to want a lion's share of something out of whatever team comes toward them, because they're not going to give Harden away just for, let's just say, the Paul George trade for like picks. Even though I don't know how Sam Presti pulled it off, it was like 7 to 9. I think it's 7. I want to be fair with the number. I think he got 7 picks out of the Clippers for Paul George, and I don't think another team would do that watching what Ballmer did, or I can't even really put it in front of Ballmer, but just to say the Clippers organization. So I'm wondering what team will jump the gun, try to make it happen. Everybody trying to say Brooklyn. I don't know if Brooklyn will want to do that because they'll move a lot of the good pieces, and that team looks solid right now. I wouldn't want to move too much.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into. I definitely want to get into Brooklyn. Hold on 1 second, Sirius. Hold on 1 second, because you brought up a good point, and TP fed on it and brings up a even better point. Because the teams have gone silent. Miami pulled out. They pulled out of negotiations. But I disagree with you, Sirius. I don't think his antics are making him untradeable. That's not realistic. Everybody knows why he's doing this. I'm sure his agent said, do what you got to do to get out of town because they're not trying to move you right now. So he's doing all this to get traded. I mean, and that's the thing. If somebody makes a move for him, they'll take him, and then he'll come back in the press conference and say he'll be the good citizen and be the good fellow and make it work. Everybody knows that. It's can the Rockets get the equal compensation for an MVP caliber player? No, they can't. They'd be fools if they traded him for nothing, like the Knicks traded Porzingis for almost nothing, and then the team that trades for Harden would be foolish to give up the package that the Thunder got, for PG-13. So it's basically who's going to blink. I don't think it's his actions that's going to hold them back. I think it's basically who's going to blink and get less of what they wanted for this guy, or is he going to be able to get traded to a team he wants to get traded for, and are they going to get equal compensation? I got Naj in. I'm going to bring Naj in, and I'm going to kick it back to you, Sirius. All right, so Naj, welcome to the Callers Cookout. How you feeling today?
Let's take off the blazer, loosen up the tie.
Cut it out, man.
I'm sorry.
What's
going on, y'all?
This is what happened, man. Homie Royce. Man.
Shout out the homie Royce in the house. Serious house, tie in the house.
See, and I got an oldie but goodie in the kitchen just because you came around here acting. No, you didn't, because you came in here doing that. A wise man told me don't argue with fools, man. And the crazy,
here he go with this again.
Listen, here go the crazy part. I was going to give you a shout-out for the little lookout because I went with you on the Pacers, and they taking care of the Knicks. Oh, I forgot. I got a Knicks fan on the line, too. But thank you for that. But now, then you came in and did that. You know what I'm saying? That's horrible.
Hero stuff, though, right? Hero.
Sometimes you gotta loosen up the room. Oh, yeah, I'm good, man. How y'all doing, man? Everybody good? Sometimes you gotta loosen up the room, man. It's getting a little tense, man. It's getting a little tense over here. But look.
I mean, when Sirius goes hard on Harden, that's what happens.
Right. Everybody who commented on this situation is correct. All of these things are going on at once. It's a swirling situation. They want to get as much compensation as they can. No, they're not going to get equal value for a former MVP. In the NBA, you never get equal value for stars, like no matter what, because draft picks are still at a certain point just scratch-off tickets. You don't know what you're getting. So you're not going to get equal compensation. Harden wants to move ASAP. So what? He's trying to force their hand. He's trying to make it as ugly as he can. This is similar to when Kyrie threatened to get knee surgery if the Cleveland Cavs didn't move him. You make it ugly for them, so that way they have to move a little faster. But on their end, they're like, well, even if you do make it ugly, we're still not going to do it because we're going to make sure we can get as much as we can. So the two sides are at a standstill. The fact that now they're talking about silence as far as trade rumors, that's a good thing. Deals actually get done when things get silent. When there's a lot of noise and everybody's leaking stuff and there's rumor this, rumor that, man, that's typically when deals don't get done. When you go back to that Sam Presti Clipper deal, you remember what they did. Sam Presti said, look, we just re-signed Paul. We were going forward with Russ. We were trying to contend. If we entertain this trade, there can be no leaks, none, because then we'd have to blow this thing up once Russ and them found out about it. They kept that thing 100 underground, and then when it happened, everybody, it was like a mafia hit. Bam, Paul George is gone. Now Russ is going to be like, that's how it went down. So that's how this is going to go down. They're going to talk behind the scenes. Eventually, they'll get some compensation that they can accept. He's probably not going to go to his liking as far as destination, but eventually he's going to get moved. The trouble becomes, though, you got to pay a guy $50 million a year. He's already 30. His habits, the way that he plays, can you transfer that to another system? Are you getting the same guy? And if you are getting that guy, does he need to change anyway? So, those are the parts that make it tough. But Houston will be all right, man. You got John Wall, young Christian Wood. You just continue to build and do what you can and kind of, sell off some spare parts. But don't take it personally, though, as far as, if you're a fan of the team, like some of the stuff the dude is doing. Like, because we know what this is. Like, he has to figure out a way to force their hand. So don't think like, you know what I mean? Like, dude is just out here on some, well, I hate all of y'all, but get this as ugly as I can. No. That ain't it. He just has to do this to force their hand. Putting his health at risk in doing it is probably stupid. There's much better ways to go about this. He should have called Kyrie.
Exactly.
But, yeah, man, we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, I mean, the master thinker, Kyrie, could have gave him some ideas instead of going to a party without a mask on. He says he had a mask on,
You can laugh at Kyrie all you want to. Kyrie forced his way out of town and got what he wanted, and then forced his way out of another place and got what he wanted. So y'all can laugh at Kyrie. That's what I'm saying. You want to.
That's what he didn't force his way out of Boston. He didn't resign. But I mean, listen, I'm not laughing at him. I'm saying he knows what he's doing. You're not wrong. I'm serious. I'll let you clean this one up, and then we'll move on to another dish.
Honestly, man, I mean, I kind of get where Nas is coming from, but as a fan of the squad, you know what I'm saying, if that's the play you want to run, you know what I'm saying, we as an organization have an obligation to remove the cancer from the body, from the fold. If that's your play, you want to be a cancer, you want to be a headache, you want to be a problem, while, you're not being traded or while you're not getting what you want, then we have an obligation to the rest of the men that, wear our uniform and that we play with to, ask you to refrain from showing up until we figure this thing out. If everything's going to be done in silence and in the cloak of night and without a bunch of fanfare, this, that, and the third, you showing up is bringing all that noise, because every reporter that you speak to is going to ask you that. Every time you step in front of a microphone, that question is going to be asked. Every time you get frustrated and throw a ball at a teammate, that question is going to be asked. You know what I'm saying? So when I say if he's making it harder for us to move him, if Naj's point is correct, and, you know, deals that, you know, of this magnitude get done, you know, in silence, then why show up? Clearly you don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? The name on your chest says Houston. The name on your chest says Rockets. You don't want to be here, so why put on that and go out there and act like, you know, you want to be here? Why go out there and risk, you know what I'm saying, an injury, God forbid? I don't want to wish injury on no man. But, you know what I'm saying, you go out there against OKC tonight, you know, step wrong, tear ACL, and you're stuck. You know what I'm saying? If this is the play you want to play, if this is how you want this to go down, you're doing our team a disservice and yourself a disservice by showing up. Go home.
Serious, have you ever broke up? Well, let me ask this. Serious, have you ever broke up with a girl at a restaurant? Because she was the type to where a breakup might get a little messy, so you wanted to make it public.
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean, yeah, so that's the kind of tension we're talking about. And remember, the organization's hands are not clean either. That big expose that ESPN ran the other day. Why do you get all of these leaks now? Why are we conveniently finding about him throwing balls and staying overnight everywhere and changing his practice times and having bad habits and all that? Because the organization is leaking that. So nobody's hands are clean. This is a bad divorce.
No, you're exactly
both sides,
right.
You know, both sides are doing what's in their best interest. So, I mean,
exactly
it is what it is.
right,
I do think we'll see him deactivated. I do think he will be sent home, though.
I think it's in the best interest of the Rockets not to play Harden until they can try to find a trade partner. I think with his antics, be it from a fan perspective, like serious, it's detrimental to the team and it's disrespectful. But at this point, you're looking at it from the outside in, like we are. It's a guy that is basically saying, without saying, I want to be traded. I'm not playing another game as a Houston Rocket. So you put him as a do not play, a DNP, and you just wait it out and try to find a trade partner at this point. You could say he has a loose cartilage in the knee or something like that, some bullshit. Make it up. Don't put him out there. But one of the teams, I want to switch gears slightly, one of the teams that he's often been linked to, the Brooklyn Nets, opened the season last night. I want to get into the two games last night, and I'll start with the Brooklyn Nets versus the Warriors. Listen, Kevin Durant looked pretty damn good last night, and the whole team, the whole roster from top to bottom played well. Kyrie came out afterwards, says he doesn't have to play hero ball, and you can tell in a D'Antoni offense, the point guard not only is the focal point, the point guard can shine if you have a good one, and Kyrie looks like he's going to shine in this offense with this cast around them. TP, I'll start with you. Was it the Nets looking that good, or was it the Warriors without Klay Thompson and basically the Splash Brothers looking like a puddle? Were they that bad?
It's awesome that I have Naj here, right? Because while this was going down, me and Naj was watching the game at the same time, and Naj been agreeing with me for some years now on how Russ had to do it in OKC, and everybody was like, well, Curry this, Curry that, Curry this. And it's like, well, let's see if Curry can carry a team by itself. And when it was going down, right, I'm up here watching the game, and it just looked like a horror storm. You know, I'm like, and then Nas hit me up. He's like, yo, you watching this? You watching this? I'm like, yeah, I'm watching it. He's like, Curry can't carry a team by himself. I'm like, man, I put up a post about a year or two ago when everybody got hurt and it was Curry by himself and everybody was jumping him. I'm like, they looked the same way. I don't even think if Klay was healthy, I mean, they would score, but I don't think that they could stop what Brooklyn was able to do to them last night, let alone everybody's enamored with what KD was doing. If y'all wasn't watching what Kyrie was doing to Steph and them, something was out of your mind. Kyrie was going off and letting the world know that I got a pistol on me. Like, believe it was crazy yesterday watching Kyrie do it. I mean, Kevin Durant, as long as he see the ball go in the rim, I feel like he's going to get that shot off and it's going to happen. Watching Kyrie, like, bring it to that defense and they had nobody to stop him. Then everybody else built their confidence up. And at one point, Harris didn't want to take a shot. KD yelled at him. Brooklyn looked tough. Like, Brooklyn really, to me, I feel like it's definitely going to be a top 4 team in the East. I don't want to just totally crown them yet. I want to see more because Golden State is still, to me, a bottom feeder of the Western Conference. Like, right now, like, without Clay, even if Draymond comes back, I mean, Draymond will give you some defense to be an anchor, but I don't know who they're going to slow down in the Western Conference without everybody, and they're going to need everyone, like the movie in Professional, everyone. And he means everyone. Like, Clay couldn't do nothing. They lost a lot of pieces off of that bench. Steve Kerr, I really want to see if you really are the coach of the year for these past couple of years because you got a hell of a job to do right now. The question will remain in front of you or if this is a Mark Jackson ploy. But I give Brooklyn more credit. I think Golden State is way more hampered than what we see. And, oh, yes, if anybody is still here defending Andrew Wiggins, please, I want all of the smoke. I am ready for every last ounce of smoke that you got. If you got a cigar, you got a Black & Mild, you got Newport, you got Marlboro, whatever you want. If y'all feel like Wiggins is somebody, we can talk about every last bit of that.
Yeah, I think nobody's worried about Wiggins on the cookout, the caller cookout, because he's not relevant. I'll get into my Nas. Was it Brooklyn being that impressive, or was it the Warriors being that unimpressive?
No, come on, the villain. We gotta keep protocol, man. We gotta keep the same order, man. Let me, back clean up on this. We still got Royce and Sirius in there.
No, it sounds like you just want to take RBIs away from Sirius. You want to get him on base, and then you just want to stat stuff. No, I'm okay. All right, fine. Sirius, go ahead.
Honestly,
I don't want to.
Honestly, no, the reason I wanted to pass it, me and Royce and Tymeless had this conversation a year ago where we talked about Golden State, even healthy, weren't going to make the playoffs. And I'm looking at them now. This is a 30-win team. They got to trade a pick in Wiggins or a pick in Green to load up for more. Because as constituted, this is a bad team.
Wait, hold on, Nas. You said
no, hold on, let him finish. I want to hear the rest.
I'm going to let him finish. I'm going to let him finish. You think they're 30 wins? They won't get 40?
I'm saying 30.
Nah.
As constituted.
Nah.
They got to make a move.
I'm saying mid-30s.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't think they're that bad. I think the Warriors look bad. And I think, to your point, TP and Nas, I think Curry got exposed a little bit he's a guard. He's not a point guard. He's a guard. And I don't think he's a point guard that's going to make people around him better. He's better because Clay spaces the floor for him so much. And then, Green sometimes handles the ball and takes the ball out of Curry's hand. He's a guard. He's not like a true point guard. You know what I'm saying? Like a facilitator that makes everybody better like Westbrook does with 10 assists a night. I agree with you, but 30 wins, Serious, go ahead. I gotta collect my thoughts because that's a major statement on this show. I definitely want to collect my thoughts on that one.
No, honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and co-sign that. I mean, here's the thing, man. Like, we all like Steph, and he does his thing, but especially in the Western Conference, man, you need to have somebody else. You need to have another gunner. You need to have somebody else who can help you out and do something. And right now, they don't have it. They just really don't. I mean, they went on and got Kelly Oubre, which is nice, but he can't be counted on every night. Andrew Wiggins is so bad that LeBron traded him before he played one minute in Cleveland for Kev Love. You know what I'm saying? So LeBron saw that from the rip. Like, so, I mean, it's just, this is a bad team. And again, I didn't think they would be this bad. Obviously Klay Thompson not being there hinders them. I do like, what I saw from the rookie last night, but this is a guard driven league. You know what I'm saying? And bigs like that, in my honest opinion, are not really helpmates, especially in the Western Conference. Like he can average a double-double. I mean, they're going to still get beat by 30 every night because, besides Steph, where are you going to get your offense from? What are you going to do? Like, Steph can create and he's nice in transition. I disagree with you on the simple fact that I think he is a legit point guard, but he's a point guard that scores. I mean, he dropped like 7 dimes yesterday, and he can definitely space the floor and get his own shot. And, but with that being said, he has zero help. He has zero hope, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, we call Steve Kerr and do something to try to get, some picks or something like that, or some talent or whatever. Maybe he and, Harden can get together or something. I have no idea. I mean, I'm just spitballing at this point. But, yeah, this is a bad team. And, with that being said, Brooklyn looks good. You know what I'm saying? So to answer the initial question, it's a combo of both. Brooklyn would look good. They're arguably the deepest team in the league right now. They can go 9 deep, you know what I'm saying, with their bench, So LeVert coming off the bench is going to be probably 6th man of the year candidate. Dinwiddie, you know what I'm saying, what he did last year. They pick up Jeff Green, from, Houston last year. I mean, they're a deep squad. They're a very deep squad. They're going to be a very big problem for a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference.
I mean, I concede the fact that Curry's numbers are going to go down. I think I had saw on First Take that Curry for every year in his career had shot over 40% from 3 until last year, and that was a shortened season because of the injury and what have you. And then they didn't play in the bubble, but his numbers are going to take a dip. Like, he's going to be shooting about 30-something% from three-point land just because he's going to be jacking up contested threes. He's not going to have that freewheeling shot that he normally gets when Klay's on the floor and when they're the ball movement spacing. This is going to be a testament to Kerr's coaching ability to try and get – they're not going to be able to play like these guys, Wiggins and Oubre and all these guys, Lowney and Wiseman, the whole cast, they're not going to be able to play the same way that they normally play. He's got to figure out a different way to play with this cast of players. And can he do it? We'll see. Will they have to be a tough, grinded-out team, or do they have the horses for that? Who knows? But they can't play the same way they were playing with the Splash Brothers. I mean, like I said, this is a puddle. This ain't a Splash Brother anymore. So, we'll see how he does it, but, Curry's numbers are going to take a dive, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see, he barely gets to 25 a game, barely shoots over, 35% from 3. It's going to be a hard year for him. But Brooklyn is that good. Kevin, like I said, Kevin Durant looked good, and I don't even think he hasn't, he's not all the way back yet. Like, from that, Achilles tear is a devastating injury, especially for an NBA player. I saw, and I know you guys have seen it too, when Dominique had that injury, he was never the same again. I think Weber had the Achilles, right? The Achilles injury. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're
right. That's what he had.
Yeah, he wasn't the same either. It's a devastating injury, and for Kevin Durant, who's in his 30s, this is like his 12th, 13th year in the league, and he looked that good. I mean, that's scary. And he was crossing them up, shooting fadeaways, driving down the lane. He was on the fast break. He was just the Nets looked good because Kevin Durant isn't a selfish player. Kevin Durant can blend into an offense but be a dominant player within an offense, but he can take over and do whatever he wants. I remember that interview he had, I think it was when he was in the finals when he was in Golden State. You know who I am? I'm Kevin Durant. And he's letting everybody know, I'm Kevin Durant. I'm coming back. So, I think they put the league on notice, even though the Warriors didn't look that bad, that the Nets are a deep team. LeVert, Dinwiddie, Allen, Harris and company. They got some shooters. They got some horses that can run. I think the worst thing the Nets can do is trade for Harden and trade away the depth on that team. Even though if they did bring Harden on that team, that's a team that should get to the finals. I think the way that it's constructed now is so good, and they put on such a good impression their first game. I don't think you go into the trade market unless you're adding a piece, like maybe a backup player here or a shooter here or a defender here. I don't think you go make that big splash for the big Harden type trade. But I'd be curious to see, like, TP, what do you think about Brooklyn and how they looked last night? I know we talked about the Warriors, but Brooklyn, how did they look?
I love the cohesiveness. I like how they play, but it's like, I want to say like a sliver. Like I want to say like it's like a 1.7. It's like a 1.7% of that of what's happening in Brooklyn, and I do not like at all. It's burning me to my core. 2 words, and it's a name, and it's called Mike D'Antoni. I do not like the fact that he went from Houston and messed that up down there and went with his old boy Steve Nash, and it looked like it's just everything is in place for him and Nash to make things happen the right way down there in Brooklyn. Well, up here in Brooklyn. I'm down south, so I can't even say that. But be up there in Brooklyn and make it happen, and it was like they played as a team, and everybody cheering each other on. And I not to just say it like this, but it's like looking at Kevin Durant, he looked comfortable. Like of course he just wanted to be on Golden State and get a ring, but it didn't look like he was comfortable within that roster. It was like everything that Kyrie did, things that Harris came out there and did, Dinwiddie, he up here jumping off the bench, running toward the crowd. Like, they look like a legit team, and it's like they're going to be scary out east, man. I don't want to just already give them the number 1, but they'll definitely be top 3, top 4 for sure. I feel like they'll get a loss here or there. I don't know if they threaten the 73-9 or the 72-10 team, but if they can get their way, let alone get people to pour into Barclays when stuff start to clear up and get that aura of Brooklyn to be screamed out, they're going to be scary. They are going to be scary.
Yeah, I think the only thing that can hold them back is health. If Kyrie Irving has to miss significant time, or God forbid if something happens to Durant, he has some type of setback or something, I think that's the only thing that can hold them back. I'm looking at a 60-win team minimum. So, serious Naj, any thoughts on the Nets, and then I can go to the next dish.
Did we lose Royce?
Yeah, I think you scared him off. I think he was trying to help you, and you brought too much smoke. So.
I was curious to see what he thought about what was going on.
I'm sure he was as impressed as we were. It was a heck of a showing. I have to admit, but I'll switch gears to the defending NBA champs, begrudgingly, the Lakers, because I know way more Laker fans than I need to in my life being on the East Coast. The Lakers got their ring. A nice big ring, bling bling, blah blah blah. LeBron, yeah, whatever. No, I'll be nice. Listen, they opened the season and didn't play a whole lot. The stars, AD, and LeBron, got their opening night kind of upended a little bit by the Clippers. PG-13 and Kawhi showed up, had nice games. I'll start with you, Naj. What do you think about? I mean, is there anything to think about the game last night with the Clippers and Lakers? Is it just game 1? Who cares? We'll see you in the playoffs.
Hey, can you come back to me?
Sure, fine. Why not? TP, go ahead.
Well, am I answering this more Lakers side or more Clippers side? Because I could do both. I really felt different. I felt like with them getting their rings and trying to see how Anthony Davis is going to look out the gate, they looked so sluggish out the gate. Then they tried to fight their way back in the game, and then Paul George got hot. So it's like that game had so many different storylines. It wasn't funny, but just thinking about like how it went down, like in LeBron and Snoop said something, well, this is his 18th season, and could he bring back his 18th championship? I don't want to see them just get hot in the playoffs. It's like, it's corny how this breed of basketball is getting played, and I feel like I want to say more or less like I want to say around like the latter part of February going into March is where the Lakers are going to try to pick up their stride, or where LeBron tries to turn it on. But it's like it's funny. I don't want to call it boring because I love basketball, but it's like I want to see the real thing. And I don't want to see the Clippers get hot right now in the regular season. Oh, we're beating the Lakers and they're the talk of LA, and then next thing you know, they fall asleep in the playoffs just like they did last year. So I give the Lakers. I don't even want to talk that the wrong way. The Lakers won their championship. I don't want to give them. I'm not giving them credit for that championship last year. I feel like that all was a force for him to get a championship. But now you can try and prove it as we start to clear the air on America. But they look sluggish for the team that they have. For them to lose to a Clippers team who just lost their coach. It's a new coach in LA with the Clippers, and they shouldn't have lost that to that manner. The way that the Clippers had them basically on their knees begging for them to slow down. So I wasn't impressed by what the Lakers did. The Clippers on the other end, the Clippers did what they needed to do, and Paul George put a big claim out there saying he owes the city of LA a championship, and I think that's pretty big. I don't know if the Clippers can get one this year, maybe in a 2 to 3 year span, but the way that they beat up on the Lakers last night, especially on ring night, that spoke volumes.
I mean, like I said, listen, LeBron and AD, I think they played 25 minutes or so. They didn't play the whole game. I think it's early. TP's right. The Lakers will turn it on as the season goes on, once they get their footing and get guys going. I thought Schroeder looked pretty good last night. But other than that, yeah, I'm not putting a lot of stock in what the Clippers did. Because, listen, I still remember them not showing up in Game 7 against the Nuggets and Murray dropping 40 on them. So that's where you got to prove it. But I got Eric in. I'm going to bring him in, see his opinion, then I'll kick it back around. Eric, what's going on, brother?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. How you doing tonight?
We're just feeling fine, dandy. If you want to call it that. We're talking some NBA action. The season kicked off last night, and we got a whole slate of games today. Westbrook putting in a triple double, back to his usual thing. What did you think about the two games last night?
I think it was great for the Nets. They did a really good showing, so I was impressed by them. It's going to be interesting to see if they can sustain it, but it looks like Kyrie and KD and them got some chemistry, so that was a good game. They took care of the Warriors, and the Lakers and the Clippers, the Clippers beat the Lakers, last year at the beginning of the year, so it was not too much stock in there like everyone was saying, but TP, Paul George owes the city of LA a championship. The Lakers have given him 18 or 17. The Dodgers have given him 6. And the LA Kings have him 2. So the Clippers will never be in LA. It's never going to be their city. They're always going to be second. It's, you know what I mean? They can even win a championship, and they're still not even going to be in the talk of LA. So, the Lakers throttled the Clippers in the preseason 131-106, the last game they played. And, the Lakers had a lot of their players in there, and so did the Clippers. So this first game, they were definitely hungover for the ring. They did definitely play sluggish. But, 116-109 isn't that bad of a beating when the Clippers were up. And as so many times we've seen before, especially in the playoffs, they give up these huge leads. The Clippers should have blew out the Lakers, but they weren't able to sustain the defense. So, but I did like what I saw out of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So hats off to the Clippers. They definitely, played a good game. So, but it's still early. It's the first game of the season, and we all know there's 71 left in the playoffs. So I'm excited about this NBA season, though. So, all in all, it was a good first 2 opening games.
Yeah, you're right, and the Clippers can't hold on to leads. I think every game they lost in that Nuggets series, they were up when they were trying to close out. So, and that's not having a point guard. They don't have a guy that can run the offense and get them going and get them a shot they need in big moments. So we'll see. Listen,
that's when
I
it
agree
matters.
with you. Yeah, it's when it matters, and it's like I agree with you. Paul George doesn't have to give LA a championship they already, they're not like Cleveland starting for a championship. I mean, you even brought up hockey. I mean, who brings up hockey? But I mean, like, seriously, LA doesn't need you to bring.
They've given LA 2 championships, and the Clippers have never given LA championships. So
I don't look at the Clippers as owing the city. I think it's PG-13 owing everybody that's paying him a salary. Giving them his money's worth. But we got Royce back on the line. I'm gonna bring Royce in. Yeah, exactly. So he that's what he needs to do. Royce, I got you back in, brother. What's up?
Oh, I was just listening. What you got? What you throwing around?
Well, we were talking about the 2 games from last night, and your name came up. Ominously, you're speaking your spirit into existence about the Warriors and about Steph Curry. But talk to me about the 2 games last night. What you saw from the Nets Warriors game, the Clippers Lakers game that opened up the NBA season last night.
Oh, the first game with the Warriors and the Nets, man. I guess you can kind of say it was hard to enjoy in terms of like a competitive standpoint. But I like what I saw. Keeping in context, remembering the fact that like everybody just recently said, it's the first game of the season, so I'm not too high or too low on anybody's performance at this point with just one game, given all the circumstances, the different teams that haven't played since March of 2020 versus, some of the teams that have only had 71 days off, the player movement, personnel changes. So I'm really slow before I heat up this season with too many takes on the player personnel, and I'm definitely not in my feelings about anybody. But KD and Kyrie look phenomenal. I think that team is well assembled from top to bottom. When you look at the number of players coming off the bench who have been starters, have been to the playoffs and contributed significant minutes in recent years for the Brooklyn Nets. And so I'm not saying they're going to win any kind of championship, but I think they're probably the new favorites in the East ahead of the Milwaukee Bucks, just off the sheer presence of one Kevin Durant, who looked like he has absolutely returned to form. But time will tell. Everyone's going to bring up the ominous, can they stay healthy? But that's any team, and we know that everybody needs to be healthy in order to win a championship. But all things considered, an outstanding collection of talent in Brooklyn. And on the Golden State Warriors side of the ball, look, those guys had to deal with the fact that it was all about KD and Kyrie. So they were on their heels from the jump ball. Terrible shooting nights from Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Steph Curry. I think the only guy who actually might have shot better or close to 50% was the rookie James Wiseman at 7 for 13. But I'm excited to see Curry back. You guys don't know, but I've been on some other panels where I actually have the Golden State Warriors making the playoffs and being a top 5 team. Did they look like that last night? No, they didn't, but I stand by my pick because, again, it was the first night, and they had to deal with Kevin Durant, who is an absolute monster. I mean, if we're going to talk about who's the best player in the league, we'll never have that conversation about who's the best player in the league right now without saying his name. So Wiggins had to deal with Durant. Oubre had to deal with Durant. Like, anybody who lined up against him had to deal with Kevin Durant, and he was absolutely efficient. So, and it's Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors, man. So, they're working on getting Draymond back, and I think everybody will be speaking high praise of the rookie James Wiseman as we get later on into the season. So, yeah, no overreaction. They took care of business in Brooklyn. I agree with Thomas. I mean, that whole thing of Paul George, I owe the city. Man, they don't. They actually should just be quiet and not say anything like that at this point from Paul George. But he looks like typical Paul George at the beginning of every season. He comes out like gangbusters. He looks like an MVP candidate. Usually the first 2.5 to 3 months. What I'm looking for from Paul George this season, now that he has that big contract, take it all the way until the end. Put yourself in the MVP candidate race from start to finish. Give yourself a real chance at winning the league MVP and see what your team can accomplish. You know, I thought about some of the things that we all talked about last year when we were making our predictions, and I think we all got bamboozled if we're willing to own it. I think we all rode the high of what Kawhi Leonard did in Toronto, and we absolutely overlooked the fact that this team the Clippers were poorly constructed to actually win the championship as they were being revealed and dressed down in the regular season, losing to every team with a losing record with the exception of the New York Knicks. That tells us all that this team is not dominant. This team is not ready to win the championship. But we only saw, Paul George hit the side of the backboard and thought, oh, he sucked. Well, he actually didn't suck, because if you Google his bubble stats, he was 22, I think it was like 22, 7, and 6, multiple threes, 2 steals a game, very efficient. So he showed up for 18 games of the bubble. Did he help his team advance? No. But did Kawhi? No. Did Zubac? No. Did Lou Williams? No. Did Montrezl Harrell? No. Like, they had 3 cracks at it, and they lost a 3-1 lead. So it is what it is. I don't blame no one guy for, the whole team going down in flames. And when it comes to LeBron and AD, LeBron rolled his ankle at a certain point in that game, so he only finished with like 28 minutes. AD, it was the Clippers' night. They handled the comeback, and that's NBA basketball, man. It ebbs and flows. Teams have leads, teams lose leads, but in order to be a good team, you got to keep fighting to the end until there's all zeros on the clock. That's what the Clippers did. They got to win. No big deal. Like everybody said, they got the first one against the Lakers last year. Whoop-dee-dee-doo. So, again, 1 game in the season. That's what I saw in the matchups. Can't wait to see more NBA action between all 4 teams on Christmas Day.
NBA action is fantastic. I agree with you, Roy.
You already know.
The Clippers were, they were flawed last year. I thought they made some nice moves in the offseason, getting Ibaka, a big man that can shoot. And if, you can get anything out of Nicholas Batum, after he got his money, he looked like he checked out in Charlotte. If you can get something from him, that might be a nice pickup. But the guy that they need is a point guard. They really needed Rondo. So we'll see what happens. Sirius, I'll let you handle the Lakers and Clippers. I just watched the ending of that Bucks Celtics game. I mean, what a horrific call to end the game. That was the worst blocking foul call I've ever seen. And then Giannis bricked the second free throw. I mean, unbelievable. But Lakers, Clippers.
Yo, so honestly, man, this is for me much ado about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like these are 2 teams that are arguably going to be in the top 3 of the Western Conference, when the season comes to an end. I think my man Royce just said it perfectly great. You know what I'm saying? Last year, the Clippers came out, blew them out, and everybody, on the networks, and I'm, hearing this building like, oh, hell, here come the Clippers are back, and everybody else, the Lakers like, whatever, man, here's my ring. So, honestly, man, this is going to be a great little series. This is going to be a great little rivalry for these 2 teams. Fingers crossed we get more of this, come May, June time, these 2 teams meeting up in a potential Western Conference final. But I'm sure there are several other teams in the West that are going to have something to say about that. The biggest question that we have, and, we've all said it here, is we know what we're going to get from Kawhi. Kawhi's going to show up and do work every night, but Paul George, playoff Paul, as a monkey, he has to get off his back because come playoff time, this dude is on milk cartons. We don't know where he's at, you know what I'm saying? So all your off-season work that you talk about, is great. You know what I'm saying? You went in the Fuego yesterday and caught fire and, stifled a Laker run. That's great. You make all-star teams and win Olympic gold medals, and that's great. But you are non-existent in crunch time and in the playoffs. It doesn't matter who's coaching you. I mean, you went at Doc Rivers, this offseason, but you've been doing this since you was in Indiana. You know what I'm saying? So let's call a spade, bro. So we'll see what happens with it, man. But these two teams, we know what we're getting from these two teams. It was good to see, some new faces and some old faces from new places. I think the acquisition of Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder is going to be big for the LA Lakers. I do like the acquisition of Serge Ibaka for the Clippers. He understands. He brings that winning pedigree, to that team. I do like a couple other additions that the Clippers have made. I'm curious to see what Ty Lue does with that squad. So, I mean, again, I don't want to sit here and wax poetic, over two teams that we know what we're getting from, and we expect them to be finalists at the end here.
Yeah, absolutely. Naj, if you're still there, if you want to talk now, you're good. You ready to chime in? I don't think is he there? Oh,
somebody came up to him asking for Newport again.
Yeah, probably. That's usually what happens. Naj is a busy man. I gotta admit. So hopefully he comes back in and can chime in. But listen, I agree with everybody. It's early. It's one game. It can't get too high on the Clippers. Can't get too low on the Lakers. But it's easy to get high on the Nets because you haven't seen. This is the first time that you saw the two stars, Kyrie and Durant, together on the court. And to see it in fruition and to see it look as good as it did opening night is very encouraging for Nets fans. So, and
I think the biggest thing I like.
Good.
What I was going to say, I think the biggest thing that I like about what I saw yesterday from the Brooklyn Nets, and again, I said this a little bit ago, is how deep that bench is. Like, I mean, if they do it right, and if their starters come out and build big leads, KD and Kyrie, are not going to have to log significant minutes, and they're going to be able to rest and, do the, ice on the sidelines or whatever else that they need to do to maintain their body for a long postseason run. But on these teams and on these games where, not a lot is required. You guys kind of get what I'm saying. They go and get this big lead, and then that bench can come in and play significant minutes. I mean, again, you're looking at LeVert, who was a starter last year, Dinwiddie, who was a starter last year, Jeff Green, who started some time over the course of his career and contributed big minutes and big points at every stop he's been to. Allen, who is a walking double-double, if you will. So, I mean, they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a very tough out, man.
Yeah, they're going to be fun to watch, and we'll see, what happens, if anything at all, with what's going on with, with the trades and what have you. So, I want to move on. I want to get some NFL talk. NBA. So I love talking NBA, but I got to talk NFL because this was a crazy week. The Jets, being the Jets, figured out a way not to win. They win for losing and lose for. They just can't. They can't do anything right. They are literally can't get right from life. They just can't get right, boss. I mean, they just can't. I mean, really, winning a game and not getting Trevor Lawrence, that's the only time anybody will lead the show with the Jets. You know what I mean? They're ridiculous. But I gotta kick it over to Carson Wentz. There's a lot that's been going on with him. Getting benched, Jalen Hurts looking 20 times better than he does. Now he comes out and says, I don't want to be a backup. I mean, Carson Wentz is proving that, not only is he not the quarterback in Philly, that they should do everything they can to trade him, even though that's a hard contract to trade. There is a couple teams out there that would be able to, make a move for him. That he's just not a good teammate. He's not running the offense that Peterson wants. If anything, Peterson, it looks good in making the move. He should have done it sooner. but he proved that he can win with any quarterback but Carson Wentz. I mean, it's a disaster out there. It's a disaster in Philly. TP, I'll start with you. Carson Wentz, has he taken his last snap in Philly, and does he go anywhere? And what do you think about the situation now in Philly with him just being a horrific quarterback, right, or a teammate right now, and nobody wanted to play with him or for him?
I think it's more or less of him being disgruntled because he had to start this season out with a lot of his weapons out. It really tells tale on what this Sunday is going to look like against the Cowboys. If Jalen Hurts looks successful or doesn't look like it's a problem with the offense, then I think Wentz may have to go to greener pastures. But I don't think it's that bad that Wentz is a backup. I mean, you're investing this much money into him from the get-go. You better try and get every last dime out of him, especially if Hurts fall apart. Because don't forget, 3 years removed from Jalen Hurts falling apart in the middle of a national championship, and a quarterback out of Hawaii named Tua Tagovailoa had to come in there and save his tail. So that his slipper could fall off too. Just to let you know, that slipper could fall off of him too. So it'd be a good thing to keep Wentz around if Jalen started bugging out. But Jalen's looked good out of his last 2 starts. And if he's able to go into Jerry's world and knock off the Cowboys or make it an interesting game, I think Philly might have their quarterback because don't forget, Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He's looking bad for the past 2 seasons, but he went to South Dakota State, and Jalen Hurts ended up going to Alabama and Oklahoma. So it's like you got to see how the pick of the litter went. Somebody had to have more of a quarterback protocol to be able to go to Nick Saban compared to somebody that couldn't get out of the northern region of the United States. So I want to see how this works out, at least in his next game up against the Cowboys, if he's able to be successful and knock the Cowboys off, especially with this being a division game. But if not, I think that the Eagles, their hands are full on seeing which way they're going to have to go. They may have to go get another quarterback too. So it's going to be tough. I think he may go, but I don't think they should let him go.
I mean, it's a bad situation, TP. And let's be fair, Tua got hurt in the big game a year later, and Hurts came in there and saved the day. So let's be fair. But, it's only 2 games in the pros for Hurts. I saw 2 games from Daniel Jones. I refuse to call him Danny Dimes, Naj. I saw a few games from him. He looked all world, and then reality set in like 14 games later. So it could happen to Hurts, but right now it just looks like a totally different offense. Like he has the same players that Wentz had, maybe less Hurts, the tight end, but he had the same offense, and his offense looks vastly better than what Wentz was trying to do, which was not run the offense, force the ball, can't make the right reads, can't make the right decisions, and it's just a bad situation out there. He comes out and says, I don't want to be the backup. Well, of course you don't want to be the backup. Nobody wants to be the backup. Everybody wants to be the starter. But for you to come out there and undermine a kid that you have to share a quarterback room with is a disgrace. And you know what? You played yourself into this crappy position. You played like crap. Hurts didn't play like crap. Peterson didn't play like crap. You did. You lost the position. Why don't you be a man and try to get it back? It's like nobody – he thinks everybody has to hand it to him because they gave him a big contract. Nobody owes you nothing in this world. You got to go out there and prove it. I mean, save me from myself because I'm just a hateful, Giants fan that hates the Eagles. But, I mean, the Carson Wentz, disaster that's going on in Philly. Talk to me. And he's not there. Serious, go ahead. I thought he looked like he's there, but he's not.
He may have us on mute, but honestly,
he texted me said he's on his way back. He's making his way back.
Okay, we'll pick him up when he gets back in. But I mean, my thing with this is very, very simple. As you all are very much aware, my wife's a huge Eagles fan. So
I feel for you, brother. Tell her I apologize. Tell her I'm sorry to hear that.
So when the Steelers are not playing, I do keep an eye on what my wife's team is doing. And let's be honest, gentlemen. Carson Wentz has played like crap ever since he got hurt 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And LA. You know what I'm saying? Ever since then, he's been a whole different dude. You know, and the Eagles have tried. They have tried to wait for him to get it right. They tried to work with him. They tried to, you know, do whatever they had to do to try to work with this guy, even so far as to sacrificing their 2020 season. Like, we are sitting here on our couches and are, you know, doing whatever we're doing every Sunday, watching this game, you know, going on, you know, different networks, catching all 22 action, and we can see exactly what, you know, Doug Peterson and these coaches are saying. So the fact that they allowed this charade to continue for as long as it did is disrespectful and disgraceful to a very proud fan base. So for Carson Wentz to come out and be, you know, butthurt, so to speak, because, you know, Jalen Hurts is the new hot thing in Philly, is quite ludicrous. Now, with that being said, I do think that potentially a change of scenery will come in handy for him. I do think that, you know, if he's able to potentially get over to Indianapolis, you know, with his old offensive coordinator, or maybe the Jets, you know, put together a move for him and get him in New York, because the Jets and jet themselves out of a first-round draft pick. You know, first, you know, the number one draft pick and Trevor Lawrence or something, whatever. I don't believe it's almost like the James Harden situation. It's almost like the James Harden situation. Like, you know, due to the price tag and the contract that Carson Wentz signed, it's very difficult to just move him. You know what I'm saying? So he's either going to, you know, something has to happen, or the Eagles are going to have to eat that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think, unfortunately, he's played his last down in Philly. I do believe that when the rubber meets the road, he's going to end up competing for a starting position there in Philly, and we'll see what happens. You know, it wouldn't shock me if we're sitting here 2021, you know, in September, you know, around my son's birthday, and Carson Wentz is the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. But it also wouldn't shock me if they moved him either. So it's kind of a catch-22.
I mean, I think at this point you have to move on from him. I mean, there's nothing to save. There's nothing to salvage. Listen, the management in Philadelphia is not completely blameless. Like, you had every opportunity. You kept giving this guy chances to be the guy. You pretty much were enablers for him when he was, you know, changing plays and not being really a good teammate and all that. You didn't go ahead and draft his quote-unquote successor with the second-round pick. So you brought this situation upon yourself to have him go out and leak this information that he doesn't want to be there anymore. He doesn't want to be the backup. So it's like, you know, everybody has a hand in this disaster that's been going on. Peterson sticking too long with Carson and not really reaching him. So, you know, it's everybody's got their hand out. Everybody is basically at this point together in this mess in Philly, and how they get out of it, God only knows. But, yeah, Carson, to me, listen, I don't think he's being a good teammate. And I really wish he just would be helpful to Hurts. I've seen it happen in the past where other guys lost their job and been better about it. And I've seen guys like, you know, that weren't gracious about it and weren't helpful. Like, you know, when Favre and Rodgers were in the same, you know, quarterback room. So who knows? Like, but, oh God, it's an ugly situation. And, you know, for him to come out and say, oh, I want to be traded, it's just bad taste. It's just not helpful for the kid. They're trying to win games, and you know.
I mean, I get
the
it.
fact that,
I mean,
yeah.
The thing is, I kind of get it though. Like, I mean, he wants to be traded. I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, he sees the writing on the wall.
No, he didn't say he wants to be traded though. He said he doesn't want to be the backup. So he doesn't want to be backup, undermining the quarterback. He didn't say he wanted to be traded. That's the problem.
the thing is, I'm not sure if that's really undermining the quarterback because let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of backup quarterbacks in this league that, you know what I'm saying, do not want to be backup. You know, Jameis Winston comes to mind. You know what I'm saying? A former starter who has won some games in this league, but like Carson Wentz has also lost a bunch of games for his team in this league. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to be the backup. So I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles' hands are tied financially. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's at the last year of his deal. Like, he just signed that deal this offseason. Like, this deal is fresh. Like, this deal, the ink ain't barely dried on this deal yet. And, you know what I'm saying, like, they're on the hook for this thing. Like, even if he's not on the roster, I think it's like a $34 million cap hit if this man is not on the roster.
I think it's 50.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's 50. But
it's some astronomical number. But at the end of the day, like, he played himself into this position. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all grew up, you know, in the hood and playing basketball and sports, whatever it is. You know, there's a saying that goes, yo, you played yourself, player. You played yourself. This man played himself into this position. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Philadelphia Eagles didn't help him any. You know what I'm saying? In the second round, they drafted his replacement. They got him a bullshit receiver. And with the first pick, I don't care what you do. You do not pass on Justin Jefferson for Jalen Reagor. You and Minnesota picked up the pick after that. Chase Claypool was sitting right there. There are so many receivers in this draft that the Philadelphia Eagles passed on. There are so many weapons and so many people that could come in and potentially help them, but they chose to go a different direction. So once again, the organization has to eat some of this. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't put him in position to win. But at the end of the day, we've all talked about this all year. You can't take sacks. You can't throw the ball up for grabs. You got to learn how to throw the ball.
Exactly.
You got to fly to protect the body. And this dude was second in the league with lost fumbles behind Danny Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, that is not a good list to be on.
And that's the point. Like, you can argue that the front office didn't give him the weapons that, you know, everybody else were getting in this draft. But he has the same weapons that Hurts has. Hurts was down in this game against the Cardinals and led them right back into the game with the same weapons that Wentz had, and what Wentz couldn't do anything with. So weapons, okay, that's an argument, but that's more of an excuse for Carson Wentz. Like, you know, I can't do it. Eric, are you there, Eric? Don't have that.
Yeah, I'm here, brother, and I agree with you more on this. You know, I was never sold on Carson Wentz. It was a head scratcher to me that the Eagles chose him over Foles, when we all know Foles is the reason why they won the Super Bowl. Carson Wentz keeps getting hurt. I think Foles was a good matchup for the Eagles and himself. You know, as we've seen, Foles has won other teams, and he was a good fit in there in Philadelphia. And Carson Wentz, besides his 2017 season, they're trying to relive that, but that's in the regular season. He's not a playoff-proven guy. Jalen Hurts has came in 3 games and has 647 passing yards, 6 TDs, 1 interceptions, and 254 rushing yards. So I think, Hurts is putting on his audition, and I think Carson Wentz is out of a job because, like you just said, he has played better with the same weapons that Carson Wentz has all year. And Carson Wentz is, not acting a team player. He's not looking himself in the mirror where he needs to be. It's clearly, him that is a part of the problem here. So, like you just touched on, they almost came back and beat the Cardinals. I think, they're going to beat the Cowboys this week. It's going to be interesting to see a divisional game, and they still have a shot at getting in the playoffs. So I think the Eagles are going to bring it. But Jalen Hurts looks way more comfortable out there. The offense is definitely more efficient. So Carson Wentz, needs to look at himself in the mirror here because he has not deserved that contract he got. You know what I mean? So I was always scratching my head about that one. Like, wow, you're going to go with a guy that isn't proven when clearly Foles gelled with the team, had great chemistry, took him deep in the playoffs both times, and Carson Wentz has not done that. So it was a shocker to me back then when they chose him over Foles, to tell you the truth. So, and now they're reaping what they're sowing. So, the Eagles, they made a bad decision by giving him all that money because, unless you trade him, that's just a huge waste of money. So if I were the Eagles, I would definitely be exploring trade options. That's what's best for business. So.
Yeah, and listen, there's teams out there that have cap space that can use a quarterback. You look at the Colts. We don't know if Rivers is going to be there long term. That's a place where he could probably sit for a year, and then they can absorb that contract, and he could play there. I look at maybe the Broncos. Hell, the Jets played themselves out of getting Trevor Lawrence. Why not try to get, if you don't believe in Darnold, and I don't think Justin Fields got exposed against Northwestern. He couldn't throw anything. Is that a guy you want to spend the number 2 pick on? Maybe, maybe not. I haven't. He doesn't
Barry,
have a deep threat. Go ahead. You still there? We lost Eric. Eric, if you're there, come back. Well, I want to get to your point, but like I said, it feels unless he doesn't have a deep threat. He gets pretty lost out there. Am I wasting another 2 pick on him? Maybe not. Maybe you take a flyer on Carson Wentz. That's a big cap hit, but the Jets have a lot of cap space. I got Eric back in. Eric, I'm gonna bring you back in. What were you gonna say, brother?
Yeah, I'm sorry, hit the wrong button. Do you think, because there was reports, I don't know if you've heard this too, that Trevor Lawrence flat out said he wasn't going to play for the Jets. So do you think that, do you see any, merit in there that maybe that's why, the Jets, went out and played hard or why the Jets won and that sets up Jacksonville now for the number 1 pick? I wanted to throw that around and see what people think about that. So.
Well, I don't think he, the Jets played hard because Lawrence said he doesn't want to play there, and I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, who would want to play with the Jets? I mean, they're a Mickey Mouse organization right now. They have no defense. They didn't draft any weapons like to serious points. There was receivers in this draft for everybody to pick, and then some, and they drafted 1. If it wasn't for TP's boy Frankie Gore from the U. I mean, they would have had no offense against the Rams. The Rams were sleepwalking into that game. They had a bye week, and they really took it as a bye week. They didn't play at all. Listen, the Jets are just being the Jets. I mean, Gase is trying to win because he wants to save face. He wants to save his job. There's nothing to save. That's why they played hard. I don't think they played hard because they weren't going to get Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, Lawrence, if you want to go to Jacksonville, be my guest. That's where you're going to end up if the Jets aren't the number 1 pick. I'd rather have him in the Big Apple and be a savior there. TP, I don't know what you think about the Jets and Trevor Lawrence, that whole dish.
It really pisses me off, to be honest. This is the one thing that had me following Phillip Rivers his whole career because I wanted Phillip Rivers to succeed, and the same way I felt about Eli Manning and the way that Archie was like, that's not it. My son's not going to lose. Or if that's the case, that any father that played in the NFL should have that same type of pull to put their son on any other team. And this is the same way that Trevor Lawrence is acting. You don't even have a father that is able to stop the draft. You're doing it just because you don't want to go to a bad team. But hell, if you don't want to go to the Jets, you want to go to the Jags. The Jags may be in a worse position than the Jets are. Like, there are no weapons on that team. They got rid of everything down there. Like, the Jaguars, I think, are content getting ready to go to London or something. So I don't know what you want to do. If you'd rather be with the Jets while they look like they have pieces and they were able to beat a Rams defense, like, you can't poo-poo Aaron Donald and company. Like, that defense is still legit. So, like, there's something there with the Jets. And the Jags, I mean, they have one win on the season. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to see if they could win one of these last two, but it could happen because we didn't think that the Jets would win a game. So, Trevor Lawrence, I don't care how it goes down. As soon as that agent gets you in front of a couple $100 million or however that rookie contract may pan out, you ain't gonna be worried about what team it is. It could be the Alaskan Eskimos, and you still will play ball for them. So I don't want to hear it. So
here you go with that again.
He Jared Goff. You saw Jared Goff in that game. He couldn't get the offense going. You know, the Rams are a legitimate defense, and we don't even know what Jared Goff's gonna show up. You know what I mean? He should be playing hard right now, and you know, to lose against the Jets when you're in a division battle with the Seahawks to try to win the division, it was pretty sad to see.
So let me say this. If I am Trevor Lawrence, since we're looking in our crystal ball, I would much rather play with the Jaguars than the Jets for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I disagree with Tymeless. You know what I'm saying? You do have some weapons on the offense. James Robinson, he's not going to win the Rookie of the Year, but he's shown himself to be a decent back. You know what I'm saying? You have DJ Shark down there. You have Jay Gruden, who's a bad coach, but can coach up some offense. Plus, you live and you can call the city of Jacksonville, Florida, your home. Now, would you much rather play November, December football in Florida or in cold, snowy New York? You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Trevor Lawrence, you know what I'm saying, you really don't have any weapons to speak of here in New York. I mean, Frank Gore's retiring. You don't know who your running back is. You drafted a receiver last year, Denzel Mims, who has made splashes but don't know what the heck you're getting out of him. You don't know who your tight end is. Jamison Crowder can't stay healthy. You don't know who your head coach is. Like, there are so many question marks around the New York Jets, and there's a lot more substantial, tangible pieces. Yeah, I agree with you, Thomas. Like, they turned that team over. Like, the team that, beat Pittsburgh twice that year and was challenging the New England Patriots, that team is no more. But if I'm a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, you can see that, okay, this offense has moved the ball. This offense can move the ball. I got a big receiver who can make contested catches like I have here in Clemson. I have a runner who can catch the ball out of the backfield, who can run in between the tackles, and James Robinson. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have a decent, amount of cap space, to go out and sign a potential free agent and this, that, and the third. Florida looks great right now if I'm Trevor Lawrence.
I don't know how you throw that. If you believe DJ Chark and Robinson are tomorrow or building pieces around that organization, I feel like Chark will end up going somewhere and be a better option on another team. I don't think he's going to last long and be a organizational receiver for them. I don't think that's going to. Robinson is probably going to be their running back for the future, but that's all I'm looking at. That defense is horrible. They need a lot of. They need a lot of work. Like, listen,
they need a lot.
One of those teams
and the thing is,
either one of those teams is going to be a bad move for him, or even if you look at it, if he were to stay in school to come back around, it's going to be a bad thing that he's going to fall into. You can't sit up here and act like you're going to pick that. Eli and Archie had to sit there and wait for the Giants to come to San Diego to make that trade happen. Otherwise, Phillip Rivers would have been the Giants quarterback. Like, that's horrible. Like, so. With Trevor doing this, however you want to make it happen, whether you want to come up here and play in the cold weather, if it were me, you give me $1 million, I'd play football in Alaska with the Eskimos. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what's happening.
I mean, listen, what's the logo look like, Eskimos? At the last, what's the logo look like?
He just mentioned that Eskimo squad like 5 times a day.
I gotta say somebody. I can't say no regular team. I can't say the New York Jets because they won a game. I can't say Jacksonville Jaguars because we know what they look like. I can't think of another bad team like Atlanta Falcons.
They've crossed over from basketball to football, TP. I mean, like, I think you got stake in this team. Like, I don't know. Listen, if you really think the Jaguars are a better spot than the Jets, I'll argue with just this. The Jets are in New York, media capital of the world. they'll have a new coach, which hopefully they get right this time. I mean, no more freaking Adam Gazes and Bowles and all these kind of bums. You need to go hit a home run. You need to either get a good college coach or you need to go get Bieniemy, but you need to hit a home run with the coach. And then they got draft picks, okay? They got multitude of draft picks and cap space. That's a better situation in my book than going to Jacksonville, okay? Where they haven't built anything there. You know what I mean? Like, if you pulled out a map of Florida and I told you point out where Jacksonville is, nobody knows where that is. I mean, let's be.
I've been there several times. I know exactly where it's at.
I know exactly what low-key a Jaguars fan. You're low-key a Jaguars fan. I don't want to hear that.
I got friends in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's the STD capital of Florida. That's where Jacksonville is.
Nas is back with that. That's what he comes back with.
What's happening?
This is what he comes back with, y'all.
Yeah, I had to see a man about a horse, man. Y'all be doing the shows too early, man. You know what I mean? I'll be out here late.
Early? We're East Coasting it right now. We're East Coast. This is late.
What do you think I am? East Coast, homie. It's 10:30, man. How old are you? My God.
I got two kids. It's late for me. I got two kids that I tried to brush into bed before the show. So you know what I mean? But listen, they have me up at 6 o'clock in the morning asking me for turn my light on. I want something to drink. Where's breakfast? Do I have to go to school today? If you don't get the hell out of my room,
I ain't
try
looking
to talk
forward
to
to
my
that.
wife.
Exactly.
My
little
man is almost 16 months old. I'm looking forward to that.
Right. Listen, the Jets are a better situation overall in my book. Cap space, draft picks, and the best thing that could probably happen to them is not getting Trevor Lawrence. I think if they use that number 2 pick, trade out of it, get more draft picks, get some players, because they need players all over the field. So if they get more draft picks for that number 2 pick, yeah, go ahead.
I don't see them doing that. Like, honestly, we had the same conversation last year when Cincinnati and the Washington football team, whatever, was debating whether to get, Joe Burrow or Washington was going to trade the farm away for their second pick to, for a team to come up and pick up, Tua Tagovailoa and Trace Young. And honestly, I just don't see them trading to get anybody. At the end of the day, Jacksonville's sitting there at number 1. I think they're going to take Trevor Lawrence, and I think, the Jets are, going to get their quarterback via free agency or trade and use the second pick on an offensive lineman or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I've been joking about it in the thread, but Matt Stafford, I think, is going to be gone. We spoke about Carson Wentz. You know what I'm saying? There are quarterbacks that, are looking for new homes, are going to be looking for new homes, and, Sam Darnold's going to be looking for a new home. I think Sam Darnold's going to come here to Washington, at the end of the day, and kind of
I wouldn't be surprised
here. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be surprised, but that guy is not an NFL quarterback. Serious. And I don't know how anybody else feels. He makes the same mistakes that he made at USC. USC is not a quarterback-friendly college. They have not produced any good quarterbacks, in my opinion. But I mean,
neither has Ohio State, which is why I'm shocked that Justin Fields is going as high as he's gone. Name me the last Ohio State quarterback that has came out and did anything in the league as a quarterback. I'll wait.
Nope, not many. And, Justin Fields got exposed against Northwestern, like I said. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't get that ball moved. If it wasn't for a running game, he would have been a non-factor. And all he had to do was hand the ball off. So, you know what I mean? You don't get points for that, for handing the ball off. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the Jets, just being the Jets, can't get out of their own way. I'm ready to close the kitchen up. If you guys got anything else to dish out for some NFL, I got everything I need to get out. We don't want to talk about the Knicks. We don't want to talk about the Giants. We'll move on from that. Danny Bitcoin, all that nonsense. The Steelers losing 3 straight. They might lose. Praise the Lord.
Praise the
Hallelujah. Listen, the Steelers might end the season on a 5-game losing streak.
Young punks. Can't hang late. What's wrong with y'all? The show needs
No,
to
I
be
can't.
midnight. But no.
I'm old now. I'm getting old, man.
I'm just talking
kids,
junk, man. Don't pay me no mind, dude. Just messing with you.
You gotta feel me, dude. These kids, they come in my room early in the morning. Ain't even Christmas yet. They just want things, and I'm like, I'm trying to talk to my wife.
Morning, Daddy. Time for some cereal.
I know, right? Exactly. It's somebody eat all the chips on the refrigerator. Come on, man. Your damn sure they don't eat all the cereal.
Because his wife bought Xavier bought him a Lions coat, right? And the next thing you know, but he's like, I want things. He hurried up and bought him a New York Giants coat and put it on.
No women.
And he had a crooked smile on and everything. I felt bad for the kid, man. Listen, if y'all want, y'all can save a child. 1-800-RED Cross, because you don't.
You can't save a child.
That's just dirty. See, that's what I'm talking about. Every show we do,
that little boy somewhere up in Connecticut struggling and sitting up there with Avery up there smiling all hard like, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You know what? I'm gonna go wake him up. I'm gonna go wake him up just so he can tell you to go to hell. Because that's some bullshit. Because that's nobody gonna buy no kid no lion.
You wake
stuff.
up a sleeping child.
Xavier trying to take a good Christmas picture, and he got a Giants coat on. He got the crooked smile on, like,
yeah. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Avery like, I'm just here for the comments, and did the smile.
Blink twice if you wear this beyond me against your will.
Mm-hmm.
My man's forcing him to wear Giant stuff. That's sad. That's just sad.
Exactly. No, I don't force him to wear Giant stuff. He wears it proudly. What are you talking about?
Yes, he did. He did.
That's what I'm talking about. TP, you can't bribe anybody to wear some lion stuff. I mean, are you kidding me? What's the name of the color? Outer blue or something?
Whenever y'all get time.
Hawaii blue?
Hold on.
That's not even a real color. Like, there's over 1,000 colors in the Crayola crayon box. Nobody pulls out Hawaii blue. It says, I want a color with this color. Nobody wants to play with that.
I'll let you finish. Now, Sports City, I want you to look through Barry's pictures, right? He got a picture with his son in a lion's blue coat, right? And he's smiling so hard. He's smiling. Listen. Hold on. He's smiling with his eyes closed. That's how hard he's smiling, right? And then they just put up a Christmas picture, and Avery up there chilling. She don't know what's going on. She just like, Mommy just told me to sit here next to Xavier, and Xavier mad about something. And she teasing all good. And Xavier like, man, just get this off of me. Like you could just tell that it was one of those like teeth. You know, he biting his cheek smile. I feel bad for him. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna get the Jordan family together. We gotta get that boy out of there. Enough is enough. Like that.
Yeah, can you get us some Lions gear? We need. It's getting cold in my house. I need something to burn the campfire, the wood and everything. I need something to keep it flammable.
Burn that Michael Jackson New York Giants coat.
He said something to burn.
He could burn that Michael Jackson New York Giants coat. That's a smooth criminal coat by the Giants. Just throw that in the fire.
Okay.
And scream Jordan.
What a damn night. Larry Nance triple-double is messing up my money. Now I'm getting mad.
I just saw that. I
need Luka to go off for me to really come up. But, yeah, Larry Nance.
Luka ain't
Larry Nance.
What the hell? Triple-double.
Phoenix is up 7-2 right now. Luka hasn't even scored yet. He had the turnover, by the way.
Wow.
I need Luka to cook, man.
Who are the Mavericks playing tonight?
The Suns.
Yeah. Without KP, right? Without KP, right?
And out in Denver, Mike Malone is still on his BS. He's benching Porter Jr. So I might have to catch a flight to Denver. I'll fight that man. Come on.
You got to hear what you missed what Roy said earlier. Roy was like, get him out of there. They shouldn't even be benching him. And it's bad that they're benching him and Jeremy Grant is out of there. It's like, well, what else are you waiting for? If Jeremy Grant went to the Pistons, like,
come on. Come on.
I don't know what they do.
Give me Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, and you can have James Harden. Bring both of them.
You ain't getting Jamal Murray.
No, there's no way you're trading.
Bring both of them to me immediately.
Put the drugs
You need
down.
to stop.
You're not getting Jamal
Yeah,
Murray.
exactly.
I needed it in my life.
Yeah,
I needed it in my life.
I said, put the drugs down.
After that bubble, Jamal ain't
drugs.
going nowhere. Matter of fact, if Houston calls Denver with that proposal that people was talking about earlier this week, that
they'll hang up on
him
you.
All-Star Weekend. Yeah, that was you. You called me with you asked for Jamal. Ow! You think I'm stupid?
I
right?
need it.
That's a fight.
Right. Does this look like NBA 2K?
Yes.
Right.
Please.
Ain't
no way.
Ain't
no way in the world.
Hey, serious. You never know though. That Golden State thing might look good in a minute. They might. You can squeeze them for Wiseman. Who knows?
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
If Golden State, if things go bad, you might be able to get him.
Yeah, we'll see.
Get
All right,
Wiseman out of
I'm
there.
out of here.
All right,
I'm out of here.
Serious. Give me a shout out and we can close up the kitchen. Give me a shout out.
You know what I'm saying, gentlemen? I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas, man. Be safe out there if you're traveling. I did want to speak on, this whole Steeler thing, but I'm trying to get out the kitchen, like I said, here for the next hour and a half and talk about that. So with that being said,
they're gonna lose
man,
5 straight.
We ain't doing that. Ain't no way in hell. You know what? We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
Will Big Ben
with that
card work next year? That's the question. Are they getting him the
He
hell
better
up
not
out
come
of here
back.
after this season?
Well, he said he's
not. It's like Rocky 3. You should have never came back.
Right.
So, with that being said, gentlemen, man, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Like I said, if you guys are traveling, man, be safe. You know what I'm saying? Practice social distancing, wear your mask, make sure that, we can get you back in the building. Royce, it was a pleasure to holler at you, man. Don't be a stranger. Come back in the building. Nas, you know how we do, man. Jordan, man. My guy, man. Even though you got your baby in Lions gear, I still fuck with you. And
that's a lie.
Bathtub bubbly over there. Bathtub bubbly over there, man. I'm glad you had a great birthday. I can't stand you, but I said bathtub bubbly, man. Bathtub bubbly.
Word up. That's what it is.
You blowing bubbles?
I got Grizzly on them. I went and got a bottle of rosé and toasted for the last night out there in Vegas, and now they holding me hostage. Everybody holding me to it, but hey, I gotta live it. I gotta live it out there. You know what I'm saying? I gotta live it. I pop a bottle.
Eric, give me a shout out.
Like that on the road. Gotta spend it home too.
Yeah, but you want to know something about these dudes here in Sports City? I asked every last one of them to give me their doggone picks for the past 2 weeks, and both of these dudes is like Sylvester and Daffy Duck. Suffering succotash, all of them. Every last one of them left me for dead.
Looking for a
don't want to do nothing for nobody. Look, I said Hold on, man. I do this for these dudes every week. I cook for these dudes, be giving them my thoughts, opinions, and this, that, and the third. I said just one little, just do me a little solid favor. And they didn't even have to go out of their way. They could have texted to me anything. They like, we ain't gonna do nothing but time. We just gonna talk up stuff. All of them.
Unbelievable.
That means people like you. When they don't send you bad pics, that means they like you. They didn't find the game good enough, so they didn't send it to you. Now, people that don't like you will send you the worst takes of all time and bad picks and how you losing money and looking crazy. So we looked out for you, man.
The words of Chris Tucker, big word, big hole, big, I don't give a damn.
Looking for a handout. Aaron, give me a shout out. Thanks for calling in, brother. We love you, man. We lost Eric. How we got?
Hey, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Merry Christmas to everyone's family out there. And enjoy it like every time we do this, and we'll see you back on Sunday. Y'all have a blessed Christmas.
All right, you too, Eric. Nas, give me a closeout, brother.
Yeah, man. Next time, let me know, especially when we get into some late night hours action. But, yeah, man, NBA stuff, stay on it. Christmas Day is going to be beautiful. It's good to have the association back. Let's go ahead and finish this raggedy NFL season, get a Chief State trophy, and call it a day. Holla at y'all.
Exactly. Nah, thank you for calling in. Much love, brother. TP, looking for a handout. Give me something, brother.
Yeah, I wish I could ask him for some games on Christmas, but I know Nas will start acting funny then. Or if I ask Barry for some games on Sunday, I know him in series and Nas will start acting funny then. These people are funny people. You know what? You know what I call it? Listen, this is what you call Barry, Sirius, and Nas. The original kings of comedies. One of them Cedric, one of them Steve Harvey, one of them D.L. Hewley. They are funny.
You're funny.
All of them.
You're funny. You're funny.
This is terrible. You know what? And Barry might be Cedric the Entertainer for tonight. He's going to be Cedric the Entertainer. Seats 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Seats 4 and 5. Sports City, you already know what time it is, man. End of this show, the Cookout popped off. On the road out here in Tennessee on my Arrested Development movement, you know what I'm saying, to get ready to see the family for the holiday. On that note, tell a friend that it's the chef again. And if they don't know, now they know.
That's not going to end the show. The Villains got the show. I'm in charge. Points, lay the points with the Saints. Do the over with the Saints and the Vikings. There you go. There's your pick, all right? So stop whining that I didn't do anything for you, even though you're not going to put money down for me. You're not going to Venmo me.
Thanks to do it on a Wednesday at the end of a show. You can
exactly. You're not going to Venmo me any money. You're not going to Venmo me the profits when you win. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like you got my.
I'm not saying
what.
I'm not saying
the villain, Barry the villain.
Look, you stingy because you won't even let this time wear Detroit Blues. You up here stingy making them wear that Giants crap.
Stop. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
You better go ahead. You're
just jealous because I raised my son right. You know, raise your children in the way that they will go and they will never stray from the path. Okay? I got him on the Giants. Oh, here we go. Listen, the Villain is proud to bring you another edition of the Cookout. I'm in charge. TP thinks he's going to be in charge next week. We'll see how that goes. I gave him a pick. He knows my name on Venmo, Barry the Villain. Send me the winnings when you get a chance. I love you, TP. Have a good holiday. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Everybody that called into the show, you can't do it without you guys. Much appreciated. Have a safe and blessed holiday season. Keep your prayers up. We all going through it in our own way, and the Villain's going through it, but, you know, we all here. We're going to do our thing. On that note, it's the Villain again. You know, the metal-faced Destro back in the house. We'll see you next week. I'll talk to you. Peace.